Welcome, people. Welcome back to Chatterbox, the #1 trending podcast, hosted by the wholesome couple, myself, Mr. Bailey London, and the one, the only.
Oh, I thought you was doing it. I thought you were saying it. Kaira. For audio listeners, Bailey has skiffled off his head. Is that what you call it?
No.
Oh.
Shaved
off all of his hair.
Skiffled, a word of the week.
I think skiffled. I don't know why. I feel like that's something my nan would say.
Comments, let me know, the people that are visually watching, what we're saying, because like this is a little preview of what you've got to come.
What, in my future?
Yeah, when there's like, let's all have it right.
Do you know what's really weird is that you do look completely different depending on what your hair is. Like, I genuinely feel like you look like you've changed race.
Like, what race am I looking now?
I told you already.
What?
I feel like you look like you're from one of the stans.
Yeah, but hold on. Kyra's first thing she said to me is you look like you're from Kazakhstan.
Dagestan.
Kazakhstan, the image that we see of Kazakhstan is Borat.
I'm talking about the...
Dagestan.
I'm talking about the Mamagomedovs.
The Mamagomedovs.
And the Chamaevs.
Yeah, that's Dagestan. Actually, Hamzat Shamayev is Hamzat Shamayev Kazakhstan?
He's from one of the stans. That's why I said one of the stans.
I think Hamzat Shamayev is actually changing the opinion of Kazakhstan. I need to know. I need to fact check that. But yeah, for those of you watching, I am bald by choice. That's a key part to remember here, by choice. So before you get on to me, don't throw stones, because I'll just grow my dreads back to prove a point, you know what I mean?
It says in he's Russian.
Yeah, Russia, Kazakhstan is in Russia. They're all Russian. Dagestan.
I don't know.
Did you know Dagestan was Russia?
No.
You didn't know that?
I don't know enough about it. All I'm saying is that with where you've left the beard a bit long and then you've got nothing on your head, you look like
if I shave my mustache,
scary MMA fighter.
If I shave my mustache,
yeah,
then I'll be exactly.
No, I think the mustache and the beard is what.
No. They grow their beard. If you look, none of them have a mustache.
Oh yeah.
They all shave off their mustache.
Yeah, that's what
looks unique.
Yeah. Especially without the glasses. Take off your glasses so they can see.
And I'm not actually mad at that.
Whoa. Do you fight bears?
Brother, smash. Now when I'm doing jiu-jitsu though, all I'm thinking is smash, brother. But yeah, I know what we're here to talk about today.
We are here to talk about something extremely serious.
And although I'm very excited about it, this is just classic me. I've not done my homework.
Of course you've not done your homework. I know you haven't. Whereas me, I've turned up with notes.
Look at the freaking book she's come with.
I've got notes. And this is just to support what I've got in my head.
So is the notes like facts to back up the theory?
It's basically what we did. Okay, let's just do a little introduction. Today we're going to be talking about conspiracies.
that was unrehearsed. You lot should know. That was not rehearsed.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
And it's because this has come up for us a few times.
As I get older, I'm starting to...
you're getting worse and worse.
You lot really wound me up last night at the dinner table. You lot really wound me up.
Tell them why.
And
can I just say, you're saying you lot. I purposely was Switzerland. I did not say a single
Tara
word.
Did. And do you know what's really wound me up?
Yeah.
Is that I woke up in the morning, done my research, and she was probably right.
Yeah.
But I wasn't trying to be that. I was just saying a conspiracy, innit? I wasn't saying it's real. When you lot was like, that's not real, I was like double down on it. It wasn't real anyway. I thought cashew nuts weren't real.
Okay, yeah. You saw one video of an Indian man making something in the shape of cashew nuts.
I did.
And he was like, cashew nuts aren't real.
The video that I've seen, it turns out, like a lot of people thought as well, it was a video of a factory that make something in the shape of cashew nuts.
Right. I'm pretty sure that's what she did say.
No, she didn't. She just dismissed the conspiracy altogether.
So this brings me on to it. This is actually a really good way to start it, because I think before we talk about conspiracies, we have a duty of care to make some I'm not going to say rules, but some duty of care to make some sort of claims before we speak about them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anything that we're going to be speaking about in this podcast are conspiracies, and when you say theories are things that people think but are not necessarily always proven to be true. And I think it's a really good place to start with what you just said, is that you said something yesterday, and Tara's response to you in saying that what you're talking about, cashew nuts are real, that like kind of you're crazy thing made you feel like on the back foot.
Yeah.
And then, therefore, what that does with most people, and this we're just going to come up as a theory throughout this in general, is it makes people be like, what? Like you think I'm stupid type thing, and it makes them double down even more in the conspiracy. And also, people that tend to believe conspiracy theories tend to be don't have power in their day-to-day life, don't have ownership over certain aspects of their life. So it gives them this kind of like, oh, you don't get it type
thing. You know what is scary about that? Is that I knew all of that. Like, because I looked into why conspiracy theorists become... because when I was looking into it for my dad. Like, for those of you that may not know or follow this, like, my dad turned into, like, the biggest conspiracy theorist in the last, like, few years of his life. I think from lockdown kind of just magnified it.
Massively,
like...
And it did for a lot of people.
Yeah, for a lot of people.
We're going to get there, don't worry. Yeah. We're going to get there.
And what I think burns me is that as I get older and I start wearing prescriptive glasses and my hair is thinning...
Falling asleep.
And I fall asleep with my mouth open and a remote on my belly, and my injuries are taking triple the time to heal... It kind of annoys me when I get caught up in conspiracies because I feel like I've turned into my dad fully. But I try so hard not to be. But like, if I'm honest, I'm very interested in a lot of conspiracies.
And this is the thing. So like, this is why I wanted to start off before we delve into like the things that people have sent us that they wanted us to talk about.
Did they send us stuff?
Yeah, loads of people sent us stuff.
Thank you. You're actually starting to take part.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you. I feel like there's actually people on the other side of that lens now.
Yeah, there is. But yeah, and having said that, let me just take a really quick second to just say like, comment, share, subscribe. If you are watching on the other side, let us know that you're there. Do you know what I mean? We want to know who you are, we want to know that you exist, and we want to know your opinions. However, like I said, back to the disclaimers and like the rules around it, is it's really important to note that like conspiracy theories are like bred off people not believing them. Do you get what I mean? Like they are more encouraged and more, I don't know, like developed. The more people disbelieve it, the more that the people that believe the conspiracy theorists use their disbelief to prove their belief. Do you know what I mean? So they're all of a sudden like, yeah, well, the fact that you don't believe it, the fact that you deny it means it's even more likely to be true. So it's like a really complex, vicious circle that keeps going round, because if you've ever dealt with someone who is deep in conspiracies, and I think it's safe to toy with them, to discuss them, to be like, is that real shit? If that was real, that would be mental. I think it's safe to do that. But a lot of people are consumed by them. Then it becomes like a way in which they live their life. Then you'll notice, because they will often not be able to have a conversation with you
without it looping back
to something. Yeah. And therefore, and then even when you try to present them with facts, they cannot see the facts because they're so deep in it, and almost if they come out of it, it destroys their concept of reality.
They can't come out of it because it's something that they truly believe in. And I think another thing, like, okay, so like on the one where conspiracies are dangerous, like to add to that, when something becomes fact, that then sort of gives them the aha moment. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
like for example, massive one. My dad suddenly become this massive Trump fan.
Oh, can we save that? Because we're going to get to that. So that
right, cool. We'll leave it.
But what I want to say is that the word of the week...
Have you structured the storyline of this episode or something?
No, but I've just got lots of different things.
Do I need a briefing?
And you've got to ruin what you asked me to talk about it.
Cool.
What I did want to say is just as an ending to that, is that... what we were just talking about, and this is, I'm going to say it is our word of the week, is it's called confirmation bias, right? And we use it in lots of different senses of the word, but confirmation bias is when you have an idea, or you decide that it's an idea or something that you align with, and then it's easier to look for other information that confirms it. So if you have confirmation bias, and I've told you jiu-jitsu is going to save your life and change your life completely, right? Your brain believes it, and therefore you're only going to look for information that confirms what you already think. So even if you type in, is jiu-jitsu good for you? and there's 3 articles that say yes, but there's 8 articles that say no, you won't click on the articles that say no because you already are trying to confirm the bias you already have. So confirmation bias is like a really important thing whenever we talk about conspiracies, because as soon as you say these things are crazy, right? Some of these things are absolutely mental. That there's these lizards that live inside the celebrities and they unzip themselves and turn into lizard creatures that eat mermaids. Like, they're crazy, right? But
wait, what is that? Of course.
Yeah, that's a real conspiracy, right? So they only will look for evidence that confirms that, but you could send them a multitude of things that say this is obviously not true, and they won't be able to take it in. So I just thought, always be aware of confirmation bias in your life. And in terms of normal things, you know, for example...
Is this still part of your disclaimer?
Yeah, no.
No, I'm not. I love what you're doing. I love you. I'm just laughing because I just realised you started off with a disclaimer and that sounded like another disclaimer. I'm like, wait a minute, is this whole time been her disclaimer?
This is just a... It's a
good intro.
It's my intro.
I'm learning. That
was my word of the week, confirmation bias.
Confirmation bias.
In relation to conspiracy theories.
Alright, cool.
Cool.
So
okay.
what are you kicking us off with?
Number 1.
Are these people that sent in or ones that you found?
These are ones that people have sent in.
Alright, go on.
Now, I want you to just do this on the page and then I want you to stop when you see something on the page that you like. So just do this. Ready? Okay. Interesting, because it's one that I think is the only one that you might know more about than I do.
Ha!
So let's start it.
I'll give you
Fake
my wisdom.
moon landing.
I don't know anything about it.
What?
However...
You told me about
No, I told you I'm convinced now it was fake.
Every time I announce a new conspiracy, can you add in a ooh sound effect?
Yeah.
Fake moon landing. No, I want a real sound effect. Okay.
On edit.
So fake moon landing. This happened in the I think it's 1969 that it was. It took place. I've got a few little facts on it which I think are interesting. And you can give the conspiratorial side to it. But a lot of people do not believe that we ever landed on the moon. Now, I don't have a do I believe it or do I not believe it, but I can present some of the arguments as to why people don't believe it. First of all, people don't believe it because they genuinely don't believe that they had the technology to do that in the 60s.
But you know what this then links into? Didn't we have the technology? I forget. I'm about to bring in the pyramids.
You're about to talk about the fucking Mayans.
Go on.
Stick to this.
Yeah.
This is a clear example of a conspiracy.
Confirmation bias. Go on.
This is a clear example of a conspiracy that has too much information, not enough depth information, so it just links everything together.
I've got bare headlines, I don't have information.
So fake moon landing. Now, what is important to note, and the reason that people say why they think that US faked the moon landing is because at that time in the USSR, so Russia, they had this space race thing going on. So across the world were the major global powers were putting all of this money in China into trying to get to the moon first, right? And what they're saying is America faked it because they just wanted to prove to everyone, look, we're better than Russia, we did it first, we're amazing. So that's why the premise of the conspiracy came from.
Right.
Now, what are some of the reasons people say that it's fake that you know of?
The one that I've been seeing lately, that was because I've never looked into is it fake, but
in your conspiracy group chat you're in.
No, I'm not in any conspiracy group chats. I promise you.
I'll be checking that phone.
And I do not send conspiracy.
You know, most girlfriends check their phone for cheating. I'm checking to see if
I'm not in any group chats yet, and I don't send conspiracies. Yeah, I'm not there yet. I might get there.
Send them to me.
No, I don't. Show me one conspiracy I've sent you. Bring it up on your phone right now, because I'm sick of your lies. I'm sick of your lies.
Carry on.
Right. I've been seeing that the videos of them doing it, the people reporting back from space. Now I don't know if this is the legitimate video or if somebody's taken the piss and remade it just to support this conspiracy.
fake news.
And then obviously confirmation bias, we would have all latched onto it like I have.
Mm-hmm.
But if this is the footage that we're supposed to watch, it can't be. It actually can't be if I deep it. Because for years, if we've gone off, it was real from that. But they've got like wires on them. The girl's hair's like blow dried up as if she's floating, but it's just static. There's errors in the thing. You can like, as an editor, you can look and see errors in it, like where it's green screen and stuff. So I don't know if this is legit, but if that is meant to be legit, for me that means it's all fake.
I've heard something about in the 80s, they lost the initial tapes, like they lost it. So
there would be so much footage as well. If you did go to the moon and you had a camera, you wouldn't have a minute of footage.
So can I just say, you've not boldface said this, but a couple of days ago you said to me, boldface. Yeah.
What did I say?
I don't believe we've ever been to the moon.
Yeah, I don't, because I started seeing all this stuff.
But you actually don't believe that now.
No, I don't.
Okay. All right.
I don't. Because why haven't we done it again?
So there's now what I think is important to do. We have again.
Have we?
We've got satellites that's still on the moon now.
No,
reflective
satellites
on the moon.
was sent up into the sky. Man didn't go up there and put it there.
Well, okay, so I think this is what we should do with all conspiracies: is we look at like what's the evidence for it, and you've provided some of it, but also the things that people say. And again, I don't want everyone in the comments. I don't want a conspiracy theorist coming after me. I'm just presenting what other people say. Evidence to back up the fact that it did happen. First of all, the USSR afterwards went to the moon.
Oh, we've been there 6 times now.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not that hard to believe that we went to the moon. I'm back on side. We've done it 6 times. I didn't think we'd been back.
The fact that you've not been pranked, with some sort of crazy thing, the fact that you literally read something off your phone.
I'm one headline will spin me.
That's what I'm saying. I'm scared you're gonna get scammed. So since then, afterwards, the USSR did go to the moon and then confirmed the sites of landing. So if it was just to beat Russia, why would Russia, whilst during the Cold War, which we're not going to get into, but during the Cold War...
What was that, a conspiracy as well?
No, it's just like historical context, but I know you're not going to want to hear it. But anyway, which during the Cold War, they would probably try and do anything to disprove America. So why would they go up and say, we definitely saw where it was landed? So
Russia confirmed it?
Yeah.
It might have been deep though. You've watched Snowfall, like the government. There's back doors being opened.
The other thing that people say is that there is still the satellites on the moon. Which
Korea wouldn't have agreed. There's nothing I don't think you could have said to Korea to let them go along with the story that America beat them.
I don't know if at the time that was such a competitive relationship. I don't know enough about the history of Korea to be able to comment on that.
Well, if they did, they would be coming out now saying, well, actually it didn't happen.
And it's just hilarious. Again, where are you getting this
Korea,
information from?
I don't know.
What do you know?
In my head.
And what part of Korea?
North.
Okay.
In my head, North Korea and America don't get along.
Okay.
Am I right?
I don't know.
I think I'm only getting that information from the interview.
They also have this thing whereby, the director Stanley Kubrick, famous director.
What's he made?
The Shining.
I haven't seen it. What else has he made? What else has he made? It's a horror film.
You're having a go at me.
It's a horror film.
Break rub. You never seen The Shining?
In a horror film.
That you call yourself a videographer?
Is The Shining a horror film?
Fuck. Yeah.
I've seen everything, but not horror films.
Okay, well, he's a famous director.
Does he only make horror films?
I don't know.
Okay.
But what they say is that in The Shining, apparently, there was all of these clues that basically they'd got Stanley Kubrick in to direct the first film, or like the whatever it was that they got from the moon landing, and then he felt so bad about it that he then used his films later on to drop clues that he'd done that. But again, it's all clues and assumptions and suggestions. There's no concrete evidence. Plus, a lot of people would say that because it's NASA, there was thousands of engineers over the last 50, 60 years that would have worked on that project, and it would take for 40, 50 years and hundreds of people to keep a secret like that.
Who was the man that went to the moon first? Neil Armstrong?
Yeah.
Did he come back?
Yeah.
Because they didn't have that technology. Isn't Elon Musk the first one to be able to bring a rocket back?
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
I wish
I had done my research. But even if I researched, I'd have been researching conspiracies, no?
Yeah, but you could have researched that on the side as a question.
Mm.
Put a pin in it. We'll come back to it.
And comments, like if
space travel.
If we're talking about conspiracies that you actually have some knowledge on, like comment in the comment section now, because if we've got enough comments and it makes sense, maybe we'll continue this on the next episode by reviewing what you guys told us. So if you actually are listening to us talk about conspiracy and you're like the conspiracy theorist yourself,
you're like, these are don't know shit.
Don't add me to your group, but comment what you think.
So I'd like to kind of stick on the.
So wait, moon landing, fake or not fake?
I'm gonna say not fake. What do you think?
Still screaming it was fake.
Okay, all right.
I need more confirmation that it wasn't.
But there's no confirmation that it is.
Then you're guilty in my eyes.
Okay. All right. So I want to stick on this kind of like Russian theme.
Okay.
Okay.
Love it.
There's two things that I would like to look at. One's quite a small one, and it was brought to us by Sir Wakefield, William Wakefield.
Oh, okay.
Like fully government
names and everything.
But big up Will.
Will seems like the type that you can give his government and he's so legit that it does nothing.
He's like, I don't mind.
I don't mind. Give my full government.
I don't even wear shorts.
He doesn't.
To put it into context, Will is the sort of person that thinks shorts are ridiculous. He's a real British man. And he asked me to look into it, and I'd only did a little bit of surface level, but I've got a few tabs open that I haven't quite finished reading up on, but it is quite interesting. This is to do with the fact that the CIA...
Oh. Yeah.
What was that?
CIA, yeah, go on.
The
Conspiracy
CIA created modern art.
I'm sure the C in CIA is conspiracy.
I'm sure it's not, but...
Conspiracy Initiation Society. That was good, isn't it?
Yeah, that would be CIS.
Shit.
So it's this conspiracy is the idea that the CIA created modern art in order to gain popularity and to kind of like counter the Soviet Union and counter Russia.
So make that make sense to me. What did you just say?
So again, at the time that this was all happening, we're still in this kind of like Cold War with the USSR and like Soviet Union and all of these things. So the idea is that modern art, which is, you know, like expressionist, all these like
paintings.
Yeah, but like I'm talking modern art, like really like off the wall weird stuff where you're like, is this art?
Go on.
Like, what is arty about this? They basically, the conspiracy to begin with was like, why are they giving all of this money and all this time into these people? Turns out it's not a conspiracy, it's true. The government actually funded modern artists as an expressionist response to gain popularity versus the like Soviet, which were known for being like no feeling, no love, whatever. So they like pumped all this money into these artists, these weird artists, to be like, look at America, we're so cool.
Do you know why
how
that's tying in to another conspiracy about art? I don't think it's a conspiracy as opposed to a fact.
Yeah.
But like you can't price art, right?
Yeah.
Like I make a painting,
and
I tell you it's worth $1 million. That's how much it's worth. If somebody, it's worth how much somebody pays for it. So it's the easiest product to launder money. Now, if the CIA are behind this, and we just finished Snowfall, and their whole thing was bringing drugs into America to launder money for a war that whatever kind of war it was. It's not hard to believe that the CIA to launder more money would just open up an art studio and sell art for millions.
See, I don't even have that on my list of things, but I actually think that is one of the most interesting like things. I mean, it's one of the most interesting things. We know we spoke about Snowfall before, but the idea that like it didn't exist in the US, and it's basically been confirmed that they brought that in, that the government bought drugs into the United States and then decided to create a war on drugs. Like,
what's the war on drugs?
do you remember the president who it was like this whole like, we're having a war on drugs, just say no.
Just say no, yeah.
And it was
Kennedy.
I know it wasn't Kennedy.
Not Kennedy.
But I think it's like a massive thing of like, like they did that, and it's like we were so hoodwinked basically at that time, you know, and it literally destroyed hundreds of thousands, millions of people's lives in whether that be as victims to the drugs or the children of people of addicts or whatever it might be. It like completely tore down the infrastructure of the health system and everything like that. But actually, there is evidence to show that it was the US government that brought it in the first place. It is so crazy.
Is this become evidential? Is that a real word? Since Snowfall, or is it before? Did Snowfall get made as a series after all this information come out?
Yeah.
Right, cool.
Yeah. But again, like, I don't think, again, I need to do more research into it. I don't think that there was, like, an actual, like...
Teddy.
No, I think there was that. Remember I said to you, I was watching all those YouTubes about the real Franklin Saint, and he's out there, like, he's been in prison, everything, like, but he claims, he literally says it's the worst thing ever because this whole series is made on my life, and I never got a single credit for it.
Is he still a crackhead?
No. He went to prison, came out, went back again.
Oh, he tried to restart.
Yeah, he tried to restart and do like a whole like kids program, like a whole or like community program, just like in Snowfall that the dad does, like that, and then he got nicked again. But yeah, but this is a really key point. Yeah, we know that the government does fucked up stuff, right? Which means that conspiracy theorists or theories are much easier to believe because it doesn't matter how wild you think things are, the government have done crazy things, right? For example, there is something called MK Ultra. That's what I want another sound effects. And MK Ultra isn't a conspiracy theory.
What is MK Ultra?
MK Ultra was a real thing. The CIA conducted mind control experiments, and it was known as MK Ultra. They did lots of experiments on real people, right, where they genuinely were trying to control the minds of people. Which nowadays, and if you look at anything like humane, like moral, like ethically...
David Blaine.
What are you talking about?
Go on, just humour me and start again.
Okay. MK Ultra was a government-funded program, where they took people off back in the outback or whatever it was, and they were trying to conduct mind control experiments. Okay. Right? So they had CIA agents and all these scientists and all these things, and literally live torture sessions for people. Like what they were trying to do is, can we find a way to take prisoners of war basically, or whomsoever, and be able to actually control their mind? Like, how do we use psychology and torture methods and all of these things and drugs? They were using drugs, like LSD and all of these things to like lower their, I don't know, perception or whatever it is, so that they can get into their mind and then control them. So the government, the US government, actually funded and did fucked up things. So when it comes into like other conspiracies, which, and that's true, that's documented, that happens, they've held their hands up and said, yeah, we did that, right? So when it comes to other crazy things, people are like, well, it's not that far-fetched that they would be doing that because they tried to do a mind control experiment. It's not that far-fetched that they would be putting stuff in our food because they took black women away and experimented on their bodies literally like 70 years ago. Like, they have done some really disgusting things and experimented on people, and we know, and we've kind of just had to accept it, and they release it 20 years later and say,
that's what I was going to say. That's like, I it's not that I don't believe conspiracies. I'm more on the thing where, but enough, you can't do anything about it. I remember I used to say that to my dad all the time. I used to be like, I'm not even saying you're wrong. Yeah. I'm just saying, why are you making it your business? Like, why is it consuming your time? Because you can't change it or do anything about it. So it's just driving you mad and pissing everyone around you off. So it's not. I'm saying I don't believe you. I'm just like, you know what I mean? Like, so like that's the thing. Like, and then what you just said, when it comes out, when they finally come out 20 years later, it's been a conspiracy so long that when you actually find out it's true, the initial anger's kind of like not there.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't get treated with the same anger if you found out it was true at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like now it's just more of like, oh my god,
Mm-hmm.
you know that was actually true the whole time. Could you imagine?
It's the same way. It's this is not a conspiracy theory, but it's the same way of like in like the early 2000s when the UK went to war, the Iraq War or Afghanistan, and we were involving ourselves and egging up ourselves in situations we did not need to be involved in. The same way that Tony fucking Blair stood there and told the entirety of the UK population, we have seen weapons of mass destruction. We have seen them with our own eyes, which means we have no choice but to go to war. Turns out 15 years later, how he's not been arrested for war crimes, I don't know, because that's illegal. He's misled us. Turns out they never had any eyes on that. Never.
He just did what he needed to do to get the job done.
Right. So and
So
this
it's still illegal though.
Yeah, but this is what people are saying is it's like if they can do that, then I don't not believe the other things. Do you get what I mean? Like that can still be there. Which leads me on to...
Do you know what one thing does piss me off though, yeah? Is that there's wild conspiracies that we can stand and believe, but the cashew nuts was ridiculous.
Yeah, because...
Like, that really bugged me.
It wasn't ridiculous. No one said that. You were just sensitive.
But I was just like, we can believe so much. Never in no way could you man-make cashew nuts. And that's what's really bothering me.
No, she didn't say there's no way. She was just saying that not every single cashew nut we ate.
I never said
but
that.
you were like, no, they're not real.
No,
like, they're not
I never
real.
said that.
Like,
You made that up. You made that up. I said I said the real ones are rare. That's what I was trying to say.
right.
I said but the mass production of cashew nuts they're making.
I think you've really held on to this in your
Yeah,
mind.
I know.
Like, she really was not.
No, it's when you said about like believing it. I'm like, how could we believe these ones, but we can't believe the cashew nuts?
But she wasn't saying she doesn't believe it. She's just like,
Stop saying she. I'm saying we.
Okay, alright.
We people. There's certain take away cashew nuts. I'm saying there's some things that we can't believe, but then when the ones that come out, they're the ones that are more unbelievable. But then the like ones that you're like, yeah, no, I just don't think that's real. But it's possible, but I don't believe that. Know what I mean?
So this moves me on to something that I find incredibly interesting. I've listened to a few podcasts about it, but it's such a deep web that it's almost like I've listened to a few podcasts, but I've read about it, but I still don't quite get it, and it's still a bit mad. It's what I mentioned last week, one of the most famous ones, QAnon.
What is QAnon?
So
Because I edited last week's episode thinking, what's QAnon?
QAnon is actually what, rest his soul, your dad was deep involved
Oh, really?
in. Okay.
I've never heard of it.
So QAnon, the basic premise of this is that there are devil worshipping paedophiles
P. Diddy.
who are controlling the world.
Jay-Z and P. Diddy.
Well, there's lots of people.
But they're like conspiracy to be part of it. Beyonce.
No, Beyonce, Jay-Z and Beyonce are known to be part of the Illuminati.
Oh, it's not the same thing.
I'm not sure. This is what I mean. It's all very confusing.
I know Elon Musk has to be part of it.
Yeah. I know that there's lots of people that are...
Or maybe he's too public faced to be part of it.
I personally think...
Do you reckon anyone that is part of it is public faced?
No, so QAnon is not the group of people. QAnon are the people that are against these devil worshipping paedophiles.
They're the ones trying to out them.
This is the biggest, most popular conspiracy theories that they actually have a group. Like they actually are like out and proud and like fighting the devil worshippers, right? And I'm gonna be honest. I think some of it stretches too far, like the fact that they think that they're lizard people and stuff like that. But there are aspects of it which I'm like, I can believe that.
And you know, that's the thing though, yeah? What they say, well, I don't know who they are, but when they say like, government, for us, government, yeah, if they're being outed for things, they're like, oh, they're doing this, they start to spread fake news and mix it in with the real news.
Damage imitations.
What, in today's debrief?
No, in before, we spoke about before.
Oh yeah, so that's what I mean. So like, yeah, isn't that kind of what you're saying there?
Yeah, no, I don't know how that's irrelevant.
What did you just say?
I'm saying that basically, if there are these devil worshipping paedophiles,
Yeah, the lizard
that are
thing. I'm saying the
controlling
ridiculous one. Like,
Oh, yeah.
if you sprinkle a ridiculous thing into everything they're saying, like
everyone
lizard
goes,
people,
oh, and they take
yeah,
part
that's what.
of it.
Yeah,
Right,
how did you see?
I see what you're saying, but
Give me my star.
it's a little bit different. Because I agree with that, as I think that they sprinkle the like this crazy stuff on it, so that then you don't believe any of it. But maybe the first 5% isn't true, but the rest of it is.
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah, but I was thinking you talk about damage limitation.
No.
Yeah. So but then what's been really interesting is that the Donald Trump has now found himself. He is known as like the messiah of the QAnon community, right?
Donald Trump is apparently part of the people trying to find the 1%.
No, he's part of them. So they believe
This is why
that they believe that Donald Trump is secretly working behind the scenes.
I can tell you what they believe. To what my dad used to tell me.
To try and take down all of these people.
My dad believed that Donald Trump was like almost groomed into his position from years and years and years just to be put there so that they can use him to do whatever. He's not smart enough to have done all these things, but now he's so pissed off he's outing everyone,
right?
And that's how he's going to bring down the whole world, the whole government.
Yeah.
So he thinks. So what he's saying is, Donald Trump's not a bad guy. He was used and puppeted throughout everything. So when you used to say to my dad, he'll be like, "Tell me one bad thing about Donald Trump," and you're looking at him like, "That."
When I say to you, I've actually read something the other day. It's a little bit off topic, but it's Donald Trump. All of the things that he has been accused of legally and actually charged with and everything, like the amount of fraud, the amount of sexual assaults, the amount of like stealing, like it's like so long
that he shouldn't
over years. Well, the fact of the matter is, I've said this before, if you live in America and you have gone to prison, you are no longer allowed to vote. So why the fuck do I have the person I'm voting for is a criminal?
Has he been in prison?
No, but he's been charged.
I think if you haven't been in prison, it's a complete...
Yeah, but it's still like a ironic kick in the face. I could have gone to prison for for having a 20 bag of weed.
Yeah.
And then, do you know what I mean? And this guy's up there accused of like serious financial fraud, serious sexual assault, multiple women, like so many, like when I say to you, I can't even remember everything that was on the list. It was lines and lines and lines and lines.
Donald Trump?
Yes.
Has, sexual assault charges?
Yes. Plenty. Even his ex-wife has accused him of raping her. Like so many. And everyone, we don't believe them, whatever. But the truth of the matter is he's been accused of multiple things. But it's just Donald Trump. But anyway, so QAnon holds Donald Trump at the centre of it. They see him as like his messiah and as their messiah. And it's called QAnon because the person who started on these underground chat rooms, like 4chan, he called himself Q. Right?
Okay.
And this person called Q used to drop hints to his community.
On them.
Yeah. And he would drop hints to them. And this is why I think it's so attractive, because it's like a game. If you're involved in it, and what it does is conspiracy makes you think, I know more than you.
Yeah.
You lot don't get it. You just don't get it. Because Q told me. And they constantly like reinforce this idea of like, other people don't know the truth.
Yeah, that's...
They don't live in the truth.
That's another thing my dad would think, that is like, he used to think that we're like the naive ones. And sometimes I did feel naive, and I'm like, because some things he's saying, I'm like, I agree with that one, but just not that one.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Dad, I get it.
And I think what it does is it isolates you so far into your conspiracy community that you can't even cherry pick what information sounds like reality anymore. So this is what I think about the QAnon, and that's why I've got MK Ultra and a big thing, because it's like if they can do mind control experiments, then I don't not believe that they've got paedophile rings, because look at Epstein. That is literal proof that he had a paedophile ring. We have proof that in Hollywood, in big circles, they do devil worship and they do paedophilia. Like they do these things, right? So we know that it exists, but is it a big, as wildly crazy as what the QAnon people make out?
Yeah.
I don't know. Prior to 2020, Q would make all these predictions, right? So one of them being, like the storming of the White House. he made all these predictions about loads of people getting arrested and all of this stuff, right? But then in 2020 he just stopped.
Died?
And no, I don't think he died, but he stopped. Like he was still tweeting, but was like, I'm not giving out any more clues or something like that. And then the FBI since then has put it out there, or like notified the public that they say that QAnon is a domestic terrorism threat because they were behind the storming of the Capitol. Is that what it was called? Yeah, that was QAnon supporters.
Mad.
So they actually had so much control.
Yeah.
But then...
Where are they now?
So what, the QAnon people? So then
are they still going by the name QAnon?
I think they've kind of disbanded.
No, I'm looking for them.
Yeah, you're like, where are you?
Where's my people?
I think they've kind of disbanded, but what I was reading, I read like a couple of them, is there are people that were in QAnon and they're now saying like they're now out of it, and what they've had to go through therapy, which is called something like disentangling therapy or something like that, which is what people who have been in cults go through. Because they're like, I realised that when it was like, they're asking me for my money, I'm not allowed to leave, I'm not allowed to ask opinions, I'm not allowed to da-da-da-da-da, and then when you can answer all of those questions that prove you're in a cult, all of a sudden you're like, shit, I'm in a cult.
That's why they say jiu-jitsu's a cult.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're fucking taking our money, we're not allowed to leave and train at different places. It's the truth.
Is that the definition of a cult?
There's several definitions.
So a cult isn't a bad thing necessarily?
Well, it depends on what... No, a cult is a bad thing.
By definition. Like, a cult is somewhere that you pay to be. You can't ask questions. You're not allowed to go to the competitors. It just sounds like a business model.
Or a religion.
So is a religion a cult?
I always say yes.
Is that
there's a thin line. No, it's not disrespectful. I think there are many cults
oh my God.
What?
That definition fits religion perfectly.
There are many cults that started as religions or as religious groups.
Many cults that started from religious
most of them, like Jim Jones, one of the most famous cults ever, that started as a religious group.
Jim Jones?
Yeah.
Is a religion?
Jim Jones, not the UFC fighter, but
no.
famous cult leader.
Oh no! I thought there was a religion called Jim Jones.
No, he was the cult leader.
Ah.
But yeah, a lot of them start out as religious groups because it's like the perfect breeding ground. For people to, they're vulnerable. They come through to a religion. They need faith, and no one goes into a cult and goes, sign me up to that cult. They sign up to yoga classes. They sign up to jiu-jitsu classes, they sign up to a church.
I've just decided jiu-jitsu is a cult. It's not bad. I don't think cults are always bad. It depends what the cult's doing.
It's breaking
you could be in a cult of people helpers. Where we're going to meet up every day and we help each other.
No, I think a cult is just by...
No, don't you dare go to any other organisation.
I think a cult is bad. I don't think you can have a good cult.
Can't be a good cult?
I don't think so.
Alright, religions can't be a cult then.
Well, I think like there's a very thin line in between it being a religion and a cult.
If you said to any religious group, so you guys are a cult, they would be offended.
100%.
Okay. Cult's a bad word then.
Yeah.
Okay. So you know when you said about like brainwashing and that, yeah? I'll play this so the audio, they hear it, but listen to this.
ChatGPT, if you were the devil, how would you destroy the young minds of the next generation without them even knowing it?
If I were the devil, I wouldn't come with violence. I'd come with convenience. I'd give them everything they wanted and strip them of everything they needed. I'd make them feel connected, but completely alone, endlessly entertained, but quietly empty. I'd blur the lines between truth and opinion until nothing meant anything. I'd teach them to chase dopamine, not purpose, to worship self, but loathe who they are. I wouldn't destroy them with war. I'd destroy them with apathy. I'd keep them distracted, numb, scrolling, always scrolling. I'd dismantle the family by redefining it. Make fathers optional, mothers exhausted, and children confused. I'd hand them a phone before they could speak in full sentences. And I'd watch their minds rot slowly, sweetly, silently. And the most brilliant part? They'd never know it was me. They'd call it freedom.
This isn't a conspiracy, yeah? But it's like, it's all a part of the AI taking over conspiracy. Is that a conspiracy? It's not a conspiracy. We're not saying anything's happened.
No.
It's more of a fear. But that's like, you know, when I for episodes, and I wonder if we have to pull up the archives, if AI is like holding us like hostage, I'm just gonna be looking at everyone like, I fucking told you so. You know what I mean? But like, look, we're still continuing to.
And this is the thing, is that when you listen to that, it's like we can all sit there and go like, oh my God, that's so scary. But like it says...
But then 50% of me is like, did somebody just write that and create the audio because they thought that would be a good video?
Maybe. Conspiracies. Who knows? Who knows what's real? That's the thing, is you can be conspiratorial about a conspiracy.
Exactly.
It's like... And we don't know what we're listening to anymore. That's the issue. We don't know what's real. And that, going back to my good old friend Donald Trump, has only been increased since Donald Trump has been around. He has created this whole idea about fake news. He's made everyone distrust everything.
He's used fake news to his benefit.
Yeah, so everything that comes out is fake news. And it's like, but
it's, and you can throw that on anything now.
Yeah, but that's how, like, even when you look at the last election...
You could show me a video of me with another girl and I could be like, fake news.
That's what I mean.
AI did that. That's what I mean.
And I will be like, it doesn't matter, because I will still kill you. But I think, like, it's just interesting to be like, we are really in this space of like, we don't know what's real anymore. And therefore, people are much more vulnerable to believe things because... Of course, it's crazy out there. So of course it's easy to believe these mad things. Do you know what I mean? What we're doing time-wise, because I've got a few more, but I
don't know, because it restarted. Just carry on.
Okay. So one thing that I'd like to...
You know, we don't have a time limit.
I know, but I feel I don't want to bore everyone.
No, but like, there's no like beep 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 alarm.
Okay, this one's a particularly interesting one, I think, anyway. And shout out Joanne, if you're watching, Delroy, if you're watching.
Joe and Delroy are probably going to be the first ones I would start WhatsApp group with.
I want you to comment.
Because I think they're in WhatsApp groups.
If you have...
Joe and Delroy's in a WhatsApp group.
100%.
I think Delroy's put me in one before and I jumped out. Look, I'm going to show you my message. I'll get a conspiracy. I'll just go to my chat with Delroy.
And the thing is that I'm not saying this in terms of like saying that they're crazy or anything like that, but they did introduce me to this theory, which it's a conspiracy
they love
theory.
Conspiracies.
It's a conspiracy theory, but I think that they're onto something here.
Yeah, go on. Sorry. Go on.
Are you engaged?
I am. They're onto something here. It's a conspiracy theory, but I think they're onto something here.
So, Dr. Sebi.
Yeah, got my attention.
So, Dr. Sebi, for those that don't know, was a Honduran medical practitioner. However, he never actually had any medical training, never went to medical school or anything like that.
Western.
He never went to Western medical school. He suggested that an alkaline diet and herbal treatments could cure AIDS, cancer, diabetes, herpes, blindness, and various other medical ailments, right? And he attested to the fact that he had actual people that he had healed from these things who would come in with being blind, done his diet, and regained their sight. Right.
That's a bit. I think that's the sprinkle of bullshit.
Or had cancer.
That discredits whatever else.
Or had cancer.
Yeah.
And then now is still alive 20 years later.
You can take that one. I'll accept that one.
And
because I genuinely think
believe,
cancer is a conspiracy.
So, what?
I genuinely believe that the not being able to cure cancer is a conspiracy.
Okay.
And a lot of illnesses.
Yeah. So this is why a lot of people say that
I get it. It makes sense.
The truth.
Yeah.
And the reason that they say it is because Big Pharma in America or across the whole world is like billions of pounds. So if we were to say, oh no, we don't need flu medication, we don't need radiotherapy, we don't need this, we don't need AIDS, continuing life treatment, we don't need diabetes treatment. If we were to say we don't need all those treatments, then the whole of Big Pharma would collapse. And that is billions upon billions upon billions of pounds, so many people's livelihoods, so many people's jobs, everything. So of course they don't really want us to know what's going on, right? And like down to the fact that conversation I was having with the lady I met the other day, we don't actually know what's in our food, but it's been proven to us that sugar literally stops our body from healing, and yet sugar is in everything. Like, and don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting here, I'm drinking a fucking soda, do you get what I mean? Like, I'm not sitting here being like, oh my God, don't eat anything unless you pulled it from the ground yourself. I am victim to this massively. You are victim to this, we all are, right? But the older I'm getting, the more I'm starting to think, fuck, like...
And that's another thing, what you just said, the older you're getting. I think you have to go... I think a lot of my stopping myself talking comes from me picturing my younger self listening to me talk.
You say that though, but it's actually the younger generation that are now the biggest conspirators. Because
but they would be because they're like
the TikTok generation.
Yeah, they would be because they're coming into like they're being told like the things that we've had to go through. But there's such an element of, I don't have to. Well, shut up. Like,
well, they're what that devil person's talking about. They just scroll. They think they're connected, but they're not connected. They think they know everything, but they don't know anything.
They think they're woke.
They don't trust. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's all of these things. Like what? Like we said earlier, what does it make you? What do you need to be to believe in conspiracies? You need to have a massive mistrust of government, which these young people do. They have absolutely no faith in them. They need a massive, like, basically, like, knowledge gap, which they do just by default of being younger. They need to be vulnerable, often lonely, often powerless. Young people generally still living at home, don't have jobs, don't have their own money, blah, 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 are generally powerless. They are the prime, and they're chronically online, seeing untold hours upon hours a day of information that their body's just ingesting. They are the prime group to be conspirators. It used to be old people. Now it's young people. But the thing is that when I say I'm getting older, what I mean by that is like, I just was given, like, I grew up, my mum has 5 sugars in her tea.
That's crazy.
I grew up thinking that was normal. When I went to my friend's house and their parents didn't have sugars in the tea, I used to think, fucking weirdos.
Yeah.
So we just took in what we got. But the older I get and the more I'm thinking about food and the more there's allergens and like, we don't fucking know what they're putting in this processed shit. Like, is it that far-fetched, as Dr. Sebi was saying, that they want us to be ill?
Yeah, no, because pharmacies and everything profit for that. That's what I believe. And I take back that cancer being a conspiracy thing. But I do mean, like, keeping us sick. Like, not, like, what's that?
Just the floor.
I thought you just farted that.
No.
Because I was just thinking, what if Marta was here? Marta was like literally explaining her job daily, which is cancer research. I was like looking at
I believe cancer itself is real.
Yeah.
I believe tumours itself is real. Listen, if Marta was here, she'd be debunking all of these theories because a lot of people have a science-based mind.
She'd be debunking the
medical theories. Yeah, because cancer does exist. Like a tumour
100%.
does exist. It does kill people. But what we're saying is there a lot of it that could be avoided for if we didn't live in a world that was full of toxins and of eating food that is full of processed stuff. Like,
because even like your skin has got better since being in Thailand.
Yeah.
And I only highlight that because I think it was Aisha that said, like, when she's in the UK, she has that skin condition. When she goes back to
clears up.
Where is it?
Not sure.
Yeah, but wherever she goes back home, like her skin clears up, which makes me think, what the fuck's going on with the air in England, or the water, or
something.
You know what I mean? And I think whatever that something is, they would know.
Well, even just on the fact that where we do jiu-jitsu is one of the most polluted roads in the country.
What?
Brixton Hill.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that whole road, 'cause you know, it goes like Brixton to Streatham and all the way back down the other end to Vauxhall and stuff. That road is one of the most polluted roads, and it's had so much campaigns that because there are young people dying, more like a higher percentage, especially young like black people, because of the population and the demographic there of respiratory related conditions. But they're not going to do shit all about it because who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? Like, and this is where I'm like, it's kind of crazy. Like, we're so far gone with consumerism. We're so far gone with food, with Coca-Cola, with gases, with petrol, with all these things. Like, sure, we can try and be as green as we want, but like, we're so far gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a lot of people believe, I just want to go back to Dr. Sebi because I know that Joanne's in her seat, like, screaming at the telly.
Like,
Talk about Nipsey Hussle!
Yeah, I saw something about Nipsey Hussle being a descendant of...
That's the... What's this? Descendant of who?
Go on, carry on, I'll bring it up.
So, Dr. Sebi, what adds to it is, of course, it would be beneficial to get rid of him so that we protect Big Pharma. But also, the people that he attracted early on in his career, right, that were really into what he was into, was Left Eye, dead, plane crash.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson, dead, gone, right? And Nipsey Hussle was just about, in 2019, was just about to release an entire documentary film that he'd made about Dr. Sebi.
So where's the documentary?
Gone. Nick Cannon said, was it Nick Cannon?
Who was in the documentary?
Nipsey Hussle, all of the people that he'd interviewed, like it was a whole documentary film apparently.
I'm not quizzing you. So if you don't know these answers, so he's died, and then the people that was in the documentary were saying, "We've all filmed this documentary. Where is it?" Or when did this documentary?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, for a start as well. So before I jump ahead to this, we've got those other celebrities that are like surrounding it.
Yeah. That
also died, right? But also, Dr. Sebi was arrested. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. I don't know if it's Dr. Sebi or Dr. Sebi, but he was arrested for something to do with like money laundering or tax or something, which is how they always get you. They always get you because it's easy to prove money laundering and tax when you're in the systems, isn't it? They could if they can access your account. Do you know what I mean? And this is me being in my conspiracy bag here, but like if you can't get me for murder, yeah. If there's not evidence for it, you can't get me for this. You can't get me for, okay. Sure, there is definitely people in prison that have done things. Have not done things that are still there for it, but it's harder, right? It's easy if you could fiddle in with my accounts to get me for that. So that's how they get you. Then he died of pneumonia in custody, which is just odd. It's just fucking odd.
Is pneumonia not something you get when you're cold?
I think that's a contributing factor, yeah.
Okay.
But like, it's just odd, isn't it?
Dr. Sebi?
Yeah.
The man of medicine?
Yeah.
Died of pneumonia?
Yeah.
An illness?
Yeah.
Is that a conspiracy?
Well, it's part of the whole Dr. Sebi conspiracy.
The people that love Dr. Sebi and know that is that the story they believe?
Well, obviously they don't because they believe he was killed.
Sorry, yeah. Sorry.
Conspiracy. So yeah, but I just think it was quite interesting that the people that he then connected with all just randomly died. Do you get what I mean? And then like Left Eye like on a fucking plane crash. Like it's just like what the fuck? Like what are the odds of that? And then Nipsey Hussle just about to release it. Then I think it was Nick Cannon, I'm not sure. He came out and said, I will make it my life's testament to finish the Dr. Sebi documentary. And then just quietly was like, actually, maybe not. So it's almost like someone said, if you fucking do this, you'll be following him. And then randomly went on the whole thing of like, I've got lupus or whatever it is. He's got, I need to spread my seeds. And now has 9 kids. Like, it's just all very weird. Like, it's all very, very strange. But that one, out of all of them, I'm not going to go into it today, but I did a lot of research into mermaids and got a little bit obsessed with mermaids.
What, that mermaids are real?
Yeah, I've since I was a kid, I've really wanted to believe mermaids are real. I just have a bit of and fairies. I've got a massive obsession with fairies and mermaids.
Do you know what I would believe? Yeah,
but I just said
that looks like a park person.
But this Dr. Sebi is the one that I think is the most like that makes sense to me as a conspiracy theorist because it's like, of course they wouldn't want us to know that. Yeah, they don't want us to know.
But people are doing it now. Like I've seen this week. I've seen Joe Rogan, even Dana White on videos like saying about it like this is for you, and because they're both old white men who are like getting into their best shape, and I guess they're trying to steer away that it's not steroids, it's this or it's this, and they don't want you to know about this, but you can do this. There's a lot of these sort of things now.
Joe Rogan is one of the biggest like pot stirrers though when it comes to conspiracy.
Joe Rogan's the biggest. What is he? Because he doesn't really question any. He lets him come on and talk. You know what I mean?
But he platforms a lot of outperformed everything, I suppose. Sorry, but we're not going to spend too long, but I do need to say about mermaids. I watched lots of different sightings of mermaids, some of which are obviously so fake, and then there was one which is a really famous one, which is like this undersea explorer or whatever, and then on the edge of the thing, like this hand comes up, and then like floats away. I'll send you the thing to put in here. I've watched it like 18 million times now.
Got to see if it's real.
Just because I'm just obsessed with it. I'm just obsessed with it.
That was more like an octopus.
Do you not see the hand? Watch it again.
Another intelligence, another species like us.
Dr. Smith, tell us.
That's like an alien.
So, there are a lot of like debunking theories about this, and they're like, it's fake, all of these things are fake, it's fake, it's fake. And it probably is fake.
No, but didn't they find like in the Caribbean like this big fish that was like a mermaid?
So this is the thing, is there's always people coming out and saying, oh, new mermaid discovered, yeah? And one that I seen, which was actually really disturbing, was a child, that was inside a fish, basically. His body was out like this. But
Oh, he's dead?
No, it was like breathing.
The fish was dead?
The fish was still moving. And the fish had its whole, basically, mouth up until the kid's waist in it. So it looked like a mermaid, but it was just probably a crazy case of child abuse, basically.
Yeah. Fish abuse.
And fish abuse, animal abuse. But yeah, so then there was that, and then there's like all these other things, and they probably are fake, right? But the thing that keeps me involved with mermaids, is the fact that we have not discovered 95% of the sea. We do not know what's going on underneath there. Whether it's fish or mermen or mermaids or whatever it might be, we do not know what the fuck is going on in the deep, 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 deep sea. We've only explored 5% of the waters on this planet.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. It's so deep. The sea is it's miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles deep.
Well, we've never been down to the seabed.
We can't. We don't have, we've been down to the seabed.
We've been deep, but just not as deep as we can go.
Apparently, we've only explored 5% of the sea. 5%.
So you see the bottom of the sea where it's like in Finding Nemo, and you got that fish that came up to the surface the other day.
With the
light. That's not the bottom of the sea.
That's deep sea, but it's not the bottom.
Okay.
I don't think we've actually know where the bottom of the sea. I'm sure at different
somewhere there's
points,
just a crater that just keeps going down and they can't dive.
Like, you know when people do like coral reef diving and stuff, like you could say that's the bottom, but it's not the bottom because it's on a. It's like on a. It's like the underground version of a mountain. Do you get what I mean? It's still gonna go down. So is it that out of this world to think that there is an entire marine kingdom down there with like half human?
See, that's the thing. That's where that word there, you lost me, because I was like, yeah, and then you said half human. No, but I could believe that there's that where the bottom half of it is a fin and it has arms and a head. Yeah. But then saying it's half a human, that's where we're going to be like, no.
It's not half
but a human. Maybe it's got arms and a head.
But maybe it has a brain that functions
had two big eyes like an alien.
That's what I'm saying. But you're saying like an alien. How do you know what alien looks like?
From what we've decided aliens look like.
That's what I'm saying. But looks more like a human than it does a dog. So what I'm saying is I don't know in it, but I really like to believe that fairies and mermaids do exist, just from little 5-year-old me, because I was obsessed, right? However, what if, when I say half human, obviously they're fully fish, they live under the water, right? So from what we think of as a fish or a mammal or whatever. But what if they are a fish, but they have the brain of a human?
Well, they wouldn't have a brain of a human because they've got nothing going on down there.
How do you know? We don't know what's down there.
Oh, as in down there might be a whole city.
Have you not seen the Little Mermaids?
There might be a whole city.
They've got kingdoms. Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? They've got a whole world down there.
Yeah, I mean...
You know what I mean? And then I was reading
I can't believe
we don't have...
We can go to space, but we can't go to the bottom of the ocean. Why?
I don't know.
Because of the pressure.
Because of the mermaids.
This is an army of mermaids stopping us.
And the thing is that I read this YouTube comment, and like, obviously, YouTube comments are not where you should do your research, yeah? But I was like, good point. Someone in the comments was like, this is why dolphins are so, like, kind to humans because they're used to seeing them. I was like, oh my God, yeah.
This person better be a fucking dolphin.
No, but do you know what I mean though? Like, that's mental. Like, mermaids have come up in spiritual lore and stories and religions for hundreds of, for thousands of years, do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's just weird, like, just so strange.
I can believe in mermaids, but I just don't believe, like, I believe that was real, but I just don't believe mermaids exist, as in what we...
See, I don't believe that was real, but I believe that mermaids exist.
Little mermaids out there.
I don't think that they're little mermaids with shell bras.
Whoever was shell bra.
I don't think they're that. I think they are some sort of weird, human-looking fish. But I do believe, or I like to believe, I like to hope and think that maybe they have like the brain of a human, so they still get together, they still are like jealous of each other and compete, and there's hierarchy and that sort of stuff.
Jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, fish jitsu.
They got some sort of sports going on down there.
Jiu-jitsu.
Right, that is about the timing. Unless you got more, I'm here for it all day. Or we can save it for next time.
I did just want to quickly shout out something.
Go on.
Yeah, which is called predictive programming, and I think it's something that you'll find very interesting.
Got my attention.
Okay, so predictive programming is kind of what you always talk about when we talk about iRobot, and I've learned about it today, and it's actually a thing, right? So,
now you're listening.
Yeah, so predictive programming is this idea. It's not quite a conspiracy because it does exist, but it's very hard to prove because it's just very hard to prove.
Or has it already been proven and we just don't care? I don't even know what you're about to talk about, but you're considering that as an option, so I'm very intrigued now. Okay,
so predictive programming is where they think that, like, people think that Hollywood or the powers that be use films, series, cartoons, all of these things to soften the public
100%.
to future truths. So that is predictive programming.
100%. Is that a conspiracy?
Can you think of any examples?
Yeah. iRobot. iRobot.
Yeah.
And every apocalypse film. I think is predictive.
Well, you've also got iRobot, you've got Black Mirror, you've got...
Black Mirror, massive.
Yeah, all of the ones, there's one I think it's called Her.
Because we watch episodes of Black Mirror like, that'd be crazy. But,
Is it called Her, the one that falls in love with the AI robot?
I don't know if I've seen that.
It's quite good. There's two versions of it, and what's really interesting is there's two versions of it. One where a man falls in love, and then one where a woman falls in love. No, they're two films. Oh. But actually, I'm pretty sure I've read somewhere what was really interesting is that they're both about, one is a man falling in love with the AI, one's a woman falling in love with the AI, and I'm pretty sure that the directors of both were man, female, and they used to be together, and they basically did these weird response films to each other. Strange.
I want to watch that now.
But
there's your recommend-do of the week.
One of the biggest examples of this, apparently, when people started to really see this as a thing, is a film that was called Solient Green. And it was made in the 70s, but it was set in 2022, which is just funny because to them they were like, 2022, crazy. And the whole film is based on this dystopian narrative that we'd be in a massive point of bad climate change, and that we will have no way, that the world needs to have some way to control the population. And so there was synthetic food dependency. And sorry if you've not watched the film, but it's so old you probably won't watch it. But what they ended up doing is they take the dead people and then repurpose the dead people into the food to feed back into the population. So a lot of people are saying these sort of films are just preparing us for what's coming. Yep. Same way The Simpsons.
I don't understand The Simpsons. I really don't understand the accuracy of the predictions they make. I can't put my finger on what that is. It can't be a coincidence.
Have you watched YouTube videos which are the Simpsons?
Yeah, I've seen it. A long time ago I went on a deep dive, so I haven't watched The Simpsons for years, So I don't even know. I know they still make episodes now. So I'd actually be interested to see if they've been dropping in things now that would potentially be coming out.
So they think
in 10 years
that The Simpsons predicted Donald Trump as president.
Yeah.
Which they pretty much did. Have you seen the escalator?
Yeah, I've seen a lot. I think I've seen this montage of like.
They've also suggested that The Simpsons predicted 9/11.
Yeah.
And there was another big one as well.
Mike Tyson.
Yes. Yeah. Something to do with Mike Tyson, but I can't remember what it was.
I think that was a joke. I think that was like Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz.
Yeah. That was that.
I think that was that. No, but even Mike Tyson, that happened to Mike Tyson. No, who did he get beat up by? I can't remember. Yeah, go on.
But yeah, so all I'm saying is that was the end of my my small bit of research I did into.
No, you did well. You made this episode.
I thought that predictive programming is just something to really like look out for. It's just so interesting because it's like they don't just want to drop new things on us. They have to like
that is predictive programming. That video we watched. In it.
Which one?
They want to keep us soft, keep us scrolling.
Yeah, I
it's
suppose
all like keeping us on the phones and distracted is predictive programming, no?
Kind of. Predictive program is more like they release something which we go, oh my god, that's so crazy, but because it's easier for us to digest it in a media format before it actually happens to us. The same way, the most important one is, remember Contagion? That film that came out and it was all about, and it named COVID as the disease that's killing everyone. And it was like I think it was like a Chinese film or some sort of Asian film, and it was called Contagion, and it was all about a worldwide pandemic called COVID. And it was released like 3 years or something before COVID happened. And everyone was like, what the fuck? Like, that's predictive programming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I found out the other day? Did you used to watch Power Rangers?
Yes.
Did you know that the Power Rangers, was actually, I don't know where it was, I'm just going to go with Korea. Or like Asia. It was somewhere in Asia. Let's say China or somewhere.
Yeah.
It was actually a different series before, not that popular. And then when the Americans took over it, they just reused all of the shots. So every shot you've seen of Power Rangers where they're in the helmets doing all that stuff, it's just reused footage.
Yeah.
And then they just got like American people to do the talking bit.
Oh, really?
Do you know what I mean? So they just reused shots from an old program.
But then they had bits where they didn't have the...
So like, obviously but all of the action shots, all of the scenes and stuff, it was used. And also the Yellow Ranger was actually a man.
Oh, is it?
So when they took the footage of the old Chinese program and they made the Yellow Ranger a woman.
It's Chinese now, yeah.
Is it Chinese? What did I start with?
Korean. Imagine we're living in a fucking South Asian country and you don't even fucking know what's going on.
Kopongkap. Sawadikap. Oh, the other day we learnt a new word as well, because I had a bit of road rage and the man shouted out the window, "Bow!"
But we don't know if that's Thai or
that
Russian.
Means fuck off or something like that.
In some language.
No, he was Thai. He was a Thai man.
No, I don't think he was Russian.
He was fully Thai. He looked Thai. He was Asian.
I don't remember.
I knew.
Okay.
But maybe it was Russian. I don't know. Anyway, hope you lot enjoyed this week's episode. Big up Kaira for all of the research.
Hope you stuck with us. Please do comment what you think. And I know that there were loads of conspiracies that I got sent through, like so many things.
We've got a whole book.
We've still got Flat Earth. We've still got fairies.
I can send you videos of the curvature.
We've still got
from the coast.
We've still got so many conspiracies out there.
It's curved.
We've still got so many conspiracies out there, and if you want us to carry on talk about it, then we will. We'll do conspiracies part 2.
And I'll do some research.
Yeah, and he'll actually do his homework.
I like this episode. I think I've been dying for this.
Yeah. Let us know what you think. Is there any of these that you completely disagree with us on? Do you have anything that you think can completely convince
what's your
us?
favourite conspiracy that we didn't talk about?
Yeah. And we'll come back to it.
Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. That's great things for me and Kaira. Definitely for Kaira. If you don't like, comment and share, and we get to go filming next week and she feels that you haven't liked this episode, it really does play on her.
Don't make me feel insecure.
I'm going to let them know that them neglecting to watch, like, comment, share, has a massive impact on my babes, then I've got to deal with that. You know what I mean? So do the right thing, yeah? Thank you. Yeah, we're good?
Alright, we're good.
Quickie?
No.
Right, cool.